final one in the session would be given by Mulia Nurhasan, and she's coming to us from the Center for International Forestry Research, and then also from the Department of Pediatric and Human Nutrition, University of Copenhagen.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I'm very nervous because everyone's so cool, so I really appreciate it. So I'm going to give a presentation which doesn't have so much correlation with climate and resilience, but nevertheless, it's about food consumption patterns and changes in Indonesia's forested and deforested areas. And I did this together with my Super Amy supervisor here. And this is a work in progress, so it is more like preliminary findings. There's much room for us all to improve. I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of feelings about what is happening. So I'm going to introduce you to Ikon. Ikon is a 4-year-old boy living in a village called Bamaha in West Papua, in Pegunungan Arfak. If you are familiar with Papua, Papua still has some connection with the Pacific Island. It is also known for being the Garden of Eden, or the lost paradise, because of the richness of biodiversity. So it is a very beautiful place, heavily forested, and yet you see here Ikon is enjoying Coke. When I was traveling to Ikon's village, it took me about 4 to 5 hours of traveling with 4-wheel vehicles, and it is the only mode of transportation to get there. 4-wheel vehicles only, no other kind except if you have a private helicopter. This is Justina. Justina is Ikon mother's. As you can see, Justina is holding in one hand fish which her husband caught from the lake exactly behind their house. It's a very beautiful village, lake and forest and mountains. And on her other hand, she is holding instant noodle in a cup, which she was selling. And this is the kind of market that Justina go every day. So this kind of fruits and vegetable, the people of the village go every day to the forest walking. They harvest anything, like the forest is their supermarket. And then they go back to their village. They take whatever they can for their daily consumption, and then they sell to each other the rest. And at the same time, these are also the kind of snack available in surrounding village. When I was there, I witnessed Ikon was eating at least 4 different kinds of ultra-processed snacks within few hours. Indonesia is, like much the rest of the world, experiencing dietary transition. And it is going to more fried foods, more refined carbohydrate. And this has health consequences, more obesity and overweight rate in Indonesia, more diabetes. I can show you more graphics from different kinds of non-communicable diseases, and it's all increasing, very similar pattern for almost every provinces in Indonesia. On the other hand, we are also losing our forests. Between 2008 to 2017, we are losing about 17 mega hectare tree cover, and deforestation and land use change is often happen in the name of food security, because we need more land to grow more food. And even though the number of people suffering from bad diet exceeds the number of people suffering from not having enough food, but the discussion is still dominated by how are we going to feed the world and where are we going to grow this food. So this is one of the example how the discussion have gone even further in Indonesia. I assume you don't speak Bahasa, so I will translate. It says, palm oil is the solution for stunting. It is a campaign to make people believe that one of the causes of the deforestation is also the solution to malnutrition. And on the other side is an infographic circulated also to inform people about how nutritious palm oil is. it has vitamin A and vitamin E when it's actually fortificated, and a lot of very nutritious fatty acid that could be the solution to stunting. So this is one of the motivation for us to understand better what is actually going on between deforestation and nutrition and food security in general. So what we do is then we select 50 regencies in Indonesia with most deforestation and 50 regencies with least deforestation or most preserved forests out of the most out of the most areas with natural forest. And then we use National Socioeconomic Survey from 2008 to 2017 to understand people's diet. It seems like it's pretty simple, but it's actually tricky because between 2008 to 2017, Indonesia has undergone quite a lot of jurisdictional changes, political and socioeconomic changes, so it took us more than we thought to do this. Nevertheless, the green areas represent the most forested areas of Indonesia. The red areas represent the most where the tree cover loss is happening, and then the yellow lines is marking the areas where we are selecting as the most forested areas, and then the black lines is marking the areas where we choose as the most deforested areas. And that is also, the red areas is also the areas where there are mostly palm oil plantations. So what do we find? Rural and urban-wise, we find strikingly very similar trend between rural and urban, and whenever the green bars is increasing, then the, is it yellow? Yellow bar is also increasing, and vice versa. So for almost all food groups, that is consumed more in the rural, and it is also consumed more in the urban. And it is also the same when we do it for forested and deforested areas. So trend is very similar everywhere in Indonesia. It's going towards more chicken, more eggs, going towards more sweet drinks, going towards less vegetable, fruits, and legumes. So it's pretty predictable that far. But although the trend is similar, we are then looking at the quantity consumed. Areas with deforested areas consume more wheat-based, and forested areas consume more staple food like sago and tubers. And fish consumption is increasing in both areas, but it is consumed more in forested areas. Deforested areas consume more avian and eggs. I guess that's pretty predictable. And I know it's not orthodox to group foods as 4 legs, but this is a work in progress. And they are more consumed more in forested areas. Sorry. And if you are not very familiar with why is it so, it's, we assume that it's probably because of the hunting and gathering activity. Dark green leafy vegetable is consumed more in forested areas as expected, but then there's something that we don't understand yet and we need to further understand, and this is our homework. What is going on with the consumption of total vegetable and total fruits? Why is it decreasing so rapidly in the forested areas that in 2017, consumption of fruits and vegetable in deforested areas is almost higher. It's a little bit higher than those living in the forested areas. This is our homework. And if you have experience or theory, you are free to share with me. Edible fats and sugar are consumed more in deforested areas. The sugar consumption is decreasing. Why? Because maybe the caloric beverages and consumption from the ultra-processed food is increasing, and it is increasing very rapidly in deforested areas. So to wrap up a little bit, Indonesia is undergoing heavy deforestation, and often deforestation is done in the name of food security to give people more energy, more protein, more calories, whatsoever. But at the same time, we're also experiencing problems with food security and nutrition, major shift in dietary behavior with similar pattern everywhere in rural, urban, forested or deforested areas. Obesity rate is increasing, and in fact, people in deforested area consume more caloric beverages, and it's increased more rapidly in deforested areas. So what do we learn here is that deforestation may bring higher income and other attributes of development, but there is always a catch. It has both negative and positive association with diet. And although our result is in no way giving any causal evidence, but it gives us, because this is a preliminary finding, it gives us a place where we have to reflect again on what is actually deforestation bring to us. Is it really food security as it's usually campaigned for, or it is more complex than that? So in our perspective, it is worthy for more exploration. Thank you.